You should look at this.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Gun Tote Minnesotan. What you're looking at here is a ZeroTech offering that they have sent out to the channel. This is the ZTO Trace Advanced 20 to 60 by 80 millimeter with their optimized spotting reticle, the OSR. It is a first focal plane spotter with an MRAD reticle. Very, very cool. It's an inline magnification style with a focus and diopter adjustment assembly. It has ED glass with FMC coatings. 20 to 60 power is what you're looking at with that big 80 millimeter objective. It does actually have Magpul or M-LOK compatible slots located at the 12, the 3, and the 9 o'clock positions, which I've used with red dots or other tools. It does have something underneath as well. It's another MOE 5-slot rail mount. You could do that if you don't want to do an ARCA plate. I went with the ARCA plate for mine. That's located, of course, at the 6 o'clock. It does have a durable rubber armor coating to protect it against bumps and scratches in your bags and on your hunts or at competitions. And it actually boasts a focal range from 10 meters up to infinity. Very impressive. And without further ado, I'm going to show you a little bit of it and how I used it here on my channel.
Got a clay pigeon at the top of 15. I don't know where this hits at all at 627. Well, I have a general idea. So we'll just see if my data lines up. It's pretty close. Send one more at the clay. I think I got it. I either bounced it or I got it. It's not too bad with, you know, military ammo, nothing special. Put one on the steel. That is empty. That's pretty fun.
That image on the ZT spotter, the reticle, the OSR, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard when things are really, really good and you don't have things to nitpick or say you wish it was different. It's almost hard to know what to say. I feel like I actually have more to say when something isn't as good because I can talk about, you know, what I wish was different or how I use it or how I have to use it if it's limited. That thing is legendary. It is so good. It's just really crisp. I just turned it up all the way up, max power here. I'm going to shoot a little more in this wind and hopefully it's stable. Hopefully that tripod's doing okay. But the image is just so clean. And I'm even in shadow, like there's not a lot of light down there at all. Even in the shadow, it's such a crisp image. And I think one of the benefits of having that premium glass is when you start getting to sundown conditions like right now, and you need a really big objective. And if you're gonna use the higher end of the power, you need the big objective and you need really great glass. And it's sharp, even with sundown in the shadow. I'm pretty happy with it.
A little bit better ammo. The Center Strike from Federal, 175 grain. All
right, just one quick thing. The center strike from Federal, the 175 grain, is no replacement for the SM case. I know that to be true for multiple reasons. I'm just telling you, in my results, it's considerably not as accurate, not as consistent. I'll say that. It's not as consistent of a bullet. I don't think it flies quite as well, but it's still decent. And this rifle shot okay with it. It shot about 1 MOA at 100 yards, 5-shot group. So I'll go ahead and see what this does at 627. I didn't see where that one went. I'm in a little bit of a shadow. I'm going to throw some at the clay. So I'll have to see in the footage, but it looked like I hit the clay. So I don't know why I would have missed. I feel pretty comfortable with my trigger pull. Lots to work to do with AR platforms in general for me. I need to increase and grow in that, but I think it was sufficient to hit that steel. So I'm going to try it again and just see if I randomly missed, or maybe I hit it and didn't realize it. The scope cam footage from the spotter should definitely see it. Impact. I'm definitely close, favoring a little left or right. It'd be kind of nice to put a wind flag out. It's just slightly windy down there. It's between 6 and 10. I'm seeing up here 3 to 5. It's not bad at all. The 308 should be just fine with that. I want to throw a few more. I don't think the optic is limiting me, nor the ammo, nor the rifle. I think I need to get better with it and be more consistent. Because with my bolt gun, these would be all hits, but I would be using more magnification. That's true. I think it's just me needing more practice, but I'm having a really good time with this. This is awesome. Really great rifle. Taking a look at some of the features here, you do have a nice neoprene cover, and I absolutely use that every single time to protect the lenses and the glass. It does have an eye cup cover, and here's your eyepiece, and this eyepiece is what I've been attaching my, what is it, like $7 Amazon phone adapter to. So it's really nice that that can work together well. I just attach it on like that. I don't go too tight at all. I'm relatively gentle with it. But that's how I've been getting some of the footage that I've needed for just giving you an idea behind the optic kind of thing. This is your focus, and I find it moves pretty smoothly. Plenty of range of travel. The closest that I have personally gone so far has been 15 yards. I've been spotting at 15 yards for some pellet gun hits on 20 power on a rifle that shoots same hole groups, and I just thought I would try it out. Obviously, this is going to change the distance that you're going to have. So now it's retracting back into the scope like that. And just showing you that it has good texture. It's easy to move. Very refined. Everything is very refined with this optic as a whole. Lots of range of travel. And I found it had pretty good depth of field. Now looking at the actual magnification ring, this is glassy smooth, very, very top-notch premium feeling. You can see a plus and minus on this indicator, but then you also have the center dot. That's telling which magnification you're actually at. I like having these as far as numerical indicators go because I pretty much want to use it at similar amounts each time. I know it's first focal plane and it has a reticle that makes sense and it does what it's supposed to do, but I tend to not use middle ground very much. I'll go either 20 power maybe 40 power, 50 power, something like that. So I know exactly where I'm at on that wheel, and it's just nice to have some sort of range. Some even very expensive spotting scopes on their magnification ring don't have actual numbers, so you don't know right where you're at, and I think that could be frustrating for some people. I like having the numbers on there because it's not hard to add, and the calibration looks like it's really, really close or right on to me. Very smooth, great texture there. Doesn't need to be extra aggressive because this doesn't require a lot of effort. The resistance is appropriate. Definitely not going to get bumped on its own, but not making me really fight the optic to move it and focus. It's exactly where it ought to be. As you can tell, I've opted to put some picatinny on here. I've taken the M-LOK covers off and put on these pieces just because I sometimes want to put a red dot on there, maybe a level, I don't know. A couple other accessories that you could put on there, a rangefinder of some sort. There's plenty of things that people want to have on here in some sort of M-LOK configuration or in picatinny, and so I opted for some picatinny additions here, but you could easily add a whole host of things, and I've seen plenty at different competitions of creativity, or you can leave it clean like this side. They did a really good job, included M-LOK covers so it doesn't fill up full of gunk and junk when you're out in dirty, windy environments like where I'm at right now. You could run it clean, or that right there. Picatinny on the top and on the side is what I've opted to go with so far. Obviously, this has a monster objective. This is going to let in a lot of light when it's very dark, low light settings. I've actually used it to look at the moon, and I should give you some footage of that too, because it's so big, it lets in so much light. It's awesome. The concern for some people would be looking directly into the sun with that, or directly in the direction of the sun with that. I actually didn't find that I was having horrible issues with the sun actually kind of overwhelming the image. I didn't have that issue, but if that's something you're concerned about, you could reach out to ZeroTech. This does appear to be threaded internally. The coatings on this guy are nothing less than superb. It's exactly what you'd expect for something this price point. It's just got a really nice meet up between all the transitions for different materials here. There's no gaps, there's no polymer that seems like it's got a weird crease or maybe a line, a hem line or something like that between polymer and other materials, aluminum. I don't see anything like that. It just looks like it flows really nicely together, and it's easy to hold on to. It almost has like a natural handle built into it. Right here is for when I'm carrying it around, and I like the aesthetic quite a bit. The coatings and the black and the green, it just goes together really well for most shooters, outdoors type guys in general. I think they're all going to appreciate the aesthetic of the optic itself. It just looks really cool. Everybody who sees it at the range is like, hey, what the heck is that? Can I look through it? Literally everybody who sees it wants to take a look through because it's just a very impressive looking optic. All right, I've got a yellow IDPA full-size target down there, something like 29.5 by 17 inches, in that ballpark, regular, I think, IDPA size target, the yellow one. And I've got the zero line below so that I can kind of estimate if I'm going left or right. And if I had a spotter here with me today, this is probably how I would have them set it up for reading adjustments and corrections that I need to make. Maybe bring that zero right up to the bottom of it. Depends what kind of load I'm shooting. If I think I'm going to be off steel or on steel, kind of dictates how much room I give the target from the reticle and the subtensions. If I think I'm going to be a little bit off the target, like right now, I'm going to throw some new loads down there. I don't know where these impact. I might want to be just slightly off the target so that I don't occlude or I don't interfere with the possible impact zone. Right now it's 625 yards about from where we're at right now. I'm going to throw some of these new 6.5 loads down and see what happens in that area. You are absolutely going to be able to see just fine. I could even bring it in a little bit more if I wanted to, but clarity is excellent. I used one of these cheap phone adapters from Amazon. Literally cost me $7 to hook it up, and it fits on the focus adjustment there as long as I don't crunch it down too tight. Threw my phone in and I'm ready to go. So without further ado, let's throw a few rounds down there and see what the reticle looks like, those impacts or misses, and maybe just glass clarity in general. Hopefully catch a little bit of trace today. So obviously dealing with just a little bit of wind, but all hits on target, just favoring slightly left, and easily with the spotter can easily pick those up. Right now I'm taking a look at a cell phone tower that's at 849 yards away. I'm on 60 power. I think I've focused it decently well. I'm looking sort of into the shadow. The sun is not actually cast directly on this, or at least the direction I'm coming from right now. I'm looking at the back side of it. And so at, man, it's really windy. I apologize about the image shaking. At 60 power, I can pick up a lot of detail there at 849 yards on that cell phone tower. The panels, if you've seen 5G towers that have the panels around, I can see plenty of detail, the cords, the infrastructure around it. If there was a silhouette up there, I'm very confident I could mark or indicate which hits were which on a white silhouette, like these white panels I'm looking at here. Easily could tell, not difficult at all. And it's really cool. There's an eagle's nest, like there usually is, at the very, very top of the tower. Man, that eagle must have a great spot up there. I could see an eagle in that nest from here. So if you were looking to use this as dual purpose, you wanted to spot critters, you wanted to spot for shooting, bird watchers, yeah, absolutely. You could see quite a bit. And this is at 850 yards, and I feel like I'm right there. I feel like it's close up. That's great. Plus, if I wanted to, I could increase on my phone's magnification. It's going to make it a little more shaky. Let's let the wind settle down. But obviously, I can increase using my phone too if I put an adapter on there. Otherwise, just with the eye, this is actually, what you're seeing right now is a little more similar to what my eye sees when I look through the spotting scope. It's not exactly the same with phones, so that's why I usually blow it up just a little bit more. Very cool. Let's go down to 50 power. I'm gonna have to refocus again. Actually, let's go to 40. We'll go 60, 40, and 20. So there's 40 power. And I do need to touch up the focus a little bit. The reticle is not going to be perfectly sharp because I'm mostly focusing on the target in this case, in the center of the glass, as a lot of people would. Looking at here, I have much more field of view. Okay, at 40 power, I'm definitely seeing a bigger field of view. If I wanted to use the reticle, obviously you could tell the reticle is very functional. Ooh, it's windy. I will say, if I was on a windy day, I'd be weighting this thing down with a backpack or putting a few rocks in the rock bag, and probably just using one of my Sunway Photo tripods that's much heavier, like the 4040 that I recently reviewed. Anyways, lots of detail. Can still see the eagle's nest up there. I can see colors, I can see contrast, and I'm looking into, again, a shadowy area. This isn't something that has lots of light cast on it. It's mostly very shadowy. And there's a little bit of cloud cover overhead, if you can tell. Really pleased with the image. 40 power, that's powerful. That's a lot of magnification. I feel like that's a lot of what I would be using it at, is 40 power, because I can still get a decent field of view. I can make a lot out of that reticle. I can use it in a lot of different ways. I have so much horizontal and vertical to use, and I can sort of pick up the 10th mil increments from about 30 power up to 60 power the best. Below that, it's usable. And I think it's fine, but it's just a little smaller. So for me, about 30 power and up, I think the reticle using the 10th mil increments, which is in two different portions on the Stadia, the horizontal and the vertical and the horizontal. There's two portions where they have those 10th mil. I'm going to say about 30 on up is where it's most practical. And I could definitely use that here. Obviously, for my eye, both things are in focus. It's not just the reticle or the target. It's both for my eye. My camera, that's another thing. All right, let's go to, 30 is an indicated number on here. I will go to 30 power. Let's focus one more time. So I'm gonna insert here, this is the gusts I was dealing with today, just so you know why it's so shaky. Yeah, that was pretty bad. So here at 30 power, obviously very generous, lots of detail. I prefer using, between that 30 and 40 power at further distances for smaller targets. And this is why I can still get a huge field of view. I can see if somebody's missing way off. I can keep multiple targets in frame if I have a wide plane. And the reticle itself, obviously the Stadia, still look really good, and I can measure accurately if I need to give corrections for somebody. Let's go down to 20 power. So obviously at 20 power, the biggest field of view, the image is excellent. It's very, very good. At 840 yards, 849 yards, I can still pick out huge amount of detail. I think I could probably touch up the focus a little bit, but it's hard behind my phone. But as it is, I really like what I'm seeing. It's very, very functional. For a lot of us, we don't need to go right to 60 power. We can probably handle the 20 power the best as far as tracking in a field if you're doing a shooting competition. For me, with with a spotter like this, rather, with that OSR reticle, I'm probably going to be more in a static position because this is a really dedicated spotter for me. I'm going to use it for ELR and long range. It's going to be on a big heavy tripod weighted down. Itself, it isn't the smallest spotter, and that's not bad because it's got an enormous front lens there. The objective is going to let in so much light. I need that in low light scenarios, which are pretty often here in Minnesota. But it makes that 20 look excellent on a cloudy day. Very, very good image. And I think I could probably touch it up just a little more even if I mess around with it. But anyways, there's a 5G tower at 849 yards. Let's look around at some other things.